Let's go into our next set of games. I had no clue how long this would take. I'm like, it's probably going to be either like an hour or maybe go up to 2, and I think we're probably going to be closer to 2. So we'll break it up a little bit as long as we don't mind
We can
reminiscing.
crank through some of them.
All right,
We'll bump into some of the games that we really don't like this one.
like this one. Here's a great example: 2003 Stack Attack. Your destination for first content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by STRYKER Careers. If you are a college student or recent graduate looking for an incredible internship, take a look at STRYKER. STRYKER provides a housing stipend, great pay, and an opportunity to work with state-of-the-art medical technology equipment. Discover why so many First alumni are coming to STRYKER for their internship or career at careers.stryker.com. First Updates Now is supported by the Milwaukee School of Engineering. MSOE offers week-long summer camps where high school students get to preview college by living on campus, exploring engineering programs, experimenting in labs, meeting with professors, and participating in fun group activities. Are you ready to experience STEM at MSOE? Visit msoe.edu/summer to learn more and register. So Stack Attack, first year of autonomous. You had actually, in my opinion, one of the best autonomouses ever in 111 Wild Sting, where they literally could just draw on a tablet and the robot would go where it was. And for that being the first year was mind blowing. At the time, they have something like that. Right now, you see teams, have stuff similar to that all the time, but it was crazy that year. So Stack Attack, you had these totes that. You thought it would be the last time you ever see totes, but no. They'd be on this platform here. It was King of the Hill, essentially. So you would push the totes into one color side or the other, and you got a multiplier based on your tallest stack as well. But spoiler alert, nobody had stacks ever. There was like 2 teams I can think of that did it. 11-14 was one of them that could actually stack. But if you crit a stack, it would just get knocked over like immediately on things. And I guess you can probably hear where I'm going to go with this, but that's really what the game was. And at the end of the game, you did have some cool iterations where robots would use like suction cups or something like that to try to spread out and take control of that bridge for bonus points on there. So yeah, Christine, you're not a big fan of Stack Attack either, huh?
No, I refer to this as Tupperware toss down, and like 111 and 190 had some pretty awesome like ramp robots that year that were like basically BattleBot wedge bots, like just at the top of the hill. So yeah, I have nothing else to say about this.
Yeah,
we can move on.
Where does this go for you?
It's a solid F.
Yeah, me too. I had a kind of border between D and F, but the more I look at this, the more frustrated I get with this game, and just realize how broken it was. I love the comment, by the way. Where is it? The game. Yeah, there we go. Tinderroot says the game needs a comma. It should be called Stack, Attack. Yeah, that's what it was. Also, I was a human player this year where in the first 10 seconds you just had to bring totes out in the field to strategically place them.
Put them down.
Yeah, and the goal was to try to like have the robots hit a corner of it. That's what we did. We'd have it where we try to throw off the robots autonomous. That was our goal with it because the stacking became so stupidly pointless. Yeah, for sure. So, all right, Stack Attack, solid F for both of us. Twitch chat, sorry, we're going to end it a little bit early, but also agrees F overall. A couple people really liked it, apparently. I don't know if they just love this game or they're trying to troll, one of the two things, but overall an F from chat as well. Next game coming up, 2012 Rebound Rumble. Here's a game overall. It was a basketball game where you could shoot in different tiered hoops. You get 3, 2, or 1 points, double for autonomous as well. I had to play this one, my old team, 2026. This was a pretty epic matchup in the Archimedes finals. But teams then scored. They had the balance on bridges. For it. They were semi-stable bridges. You can see in qualification rounds, a ranking point was given if you, I think it was ranking point or bonus points or something like that. I don't remember what it was. If you had one robot from each alliance balancing on the center bridge, and then in playoffs, it was just a neutral bridge. It really wasn't like didn't do anything other than just serve as a neutral way to cross the field. And then you could balance on your bridges at the end of the match for bonus points, 1, 2, or even 3 robots, which was our alliance's demise after our robot fell off with 1 second left to lose the division. It was very disappointing. But other than that, interesting game of mine. I have a few thoughts to give. Christine, how about you? What do you feel about 2012 Rebound Rumble?
Overall, I thought it was like a good game to be able to just pop in and watch if you were a spectator. I don't know. I didn't have any super unpleasant like memories of this game as like a spectator or a team member. I thought it was definitely like a doable goal with the way that like the hoops were set up. I thought that the cooperation bridge was like weird, but like simple enough, but yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. A lot of people knock the, I don't like cooperation at all, but I thought this was a great way to do it overall, where it was actually kind of exciting to see the 2 robots at the end of the match try to climb. A lot of times it was very last minute. It was frustrating, I'm sure, for many alliances where a robot didn't go on. Sorry, this is the point where we had the triple and then we fell and lose the division. It really sucked. But so, I mean, we got some redemption. We paired up with 11-14 at IRI and 4-3-3-4 and beat 20-56 and beat 67 and that sort of thing. So it made up for it. But and also, Tyler Holtzman, if you're watching this, yeah, we should have picked you that year. I tried. Team went a different direction. That's okay. But Hot was a great team too. So for me, I'm going to have, I have 2012 as a B tier game. There's a couple of things that I think weren't fully optimal, like the cooperation bridge. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Other than that, I liked the game overall. I thought it was pretty exciting to watch, lots of scoring, that sort of thing. How about you, Christine?
I had it at a B as well.
All right. 2012 B tier. Like, I'm happy we're in sync a lot. I'm also happy we have some differences too, right?
Yep.
All right, our next game coming up. Let's go back in time to 2007. Rack and Roll, baby. Rack and Roll, game with inner tubes that you would place on this center rack. And then you got multipliers based on rows and columns of how long it could be. There also was a black tube that would negate points scored by that. So what do you remember what it was called? I know somebody in chat will be able to. Spoiler tube. Yeah, that's right. So it would actually it would essentially just it would cause that not to score, right? So you could break up long chains, that sort of thing, which made it interesting as well. And then at the end of the game, in one of my favorite concepts, I think, for an end game. I don't know if it was my favorite end game overall, but you actually got points for having robots up in the air and getting bonus points for that. And I will tell you a real quick story. At the Midwest Regional, for anybody who remembers Raul, who works for IFI, but he was longtime 111 coach, somehow convinced 2 teams in a qual match to not move and just stacked one robot on top of the other to get the bonus points. So literally in a qual match, 2 robots stacked on top of the other, not moving the entire match. Mind blown at that point as well. Yeah, like what Matt said. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. Yeah, I'm glad other people remember that as well. We'll start the voting. Christine, give us some insight on this game.
Yeah, again, awesome that it was super, spectator friendly. What is it? It's, 3-dimensional tic-tac-toe. Just, or Connect 4, whatever it was. Being able to explain that was really easy. I loved being an operator in that game. 190's robot was really, really cool that year, the pterodactyl wings. And we had a really cool rookie team that we partnered with at Granite State that year, and then ended up being able to pick them on our field at Champs. It was 1824, I think, was their number. But yeah, just a really cool game. I think it could be one of those games where if you weren't really invested in it, if you had a team that was doing okay, or I don't know, you weren't a driver, it wasn't necessarily the most exciting game start to finish to watch, but I don't know, I would give it a B. I enjoyed it.
Sure. Yeah, to me it was kind of like a slower 2011, right? I know it was 4 years before, and actually one of the things I should have knocked 2011 on is that a lot of teams just made the same robot. You see Beatty's robot on screen, which we put on a second, is almost identical to what their 2011 robot was for this. So for me, I have it as a C. Personally, don't love it, don't hate it. There's some interesting elements I think just didn't fully come together in this game, which is why I have it ranked a little bit lower on there. But overall, not a bad game by any means. So
yeah.
All right, before we get into our last set of games to rank and go through, we're going to give a quick shout out to our friends at STRYKER and STRYKER Careers. Once again, if you haven't been on Fun, you've been missing out on what STRYKER Careers has to offer. Leading medical manufacturing company where you can work for a company that will actively support you being in first as well. So here's a little bit more about their culture over at STRYKER.
My name is Anna Sitar. I am a mechanical engineering major from Western Michigan University, and I'm working this summer in the NSC department at STRYKER in high-speed drills. The culture at STRYKER is like nothing I've ever experienced before. Here we have motivated, driven people who are constantly looking to make healthcare better, and that helps you be engaged at work, be surrounded by people that you enjoy, and also get work done much more efficiently. This summer is my third internship with STRYKER, and I constantly want to keep coming back. Every time that I walk through the building, I know that I feel like I'm surrounded by family and I'm giving challenging work that is really making a difference in healthcare. And I see myself working for this company long term because who wouldn't want to work somewhere where you're constantly being challenged, constantly being pushed, and your work is really making a difference in the world.
Thanks again to our friends at STRYKER Careers for all the support to keep Fun loud, live, and independent. Hey, by the way, Fun is looking for new ad partners for next season as well, too. If you have anybody in mind that you think would benefit from what we have to offer, reaching tons of people in first, we are able to provide a platform nobody else is able to do. So we'd love to have your support for that to help get your message out. And we also want to make sure it's a good fit, for our community as well. But if you're interested, send us an email, admin@firstupdatesnow.com, or shoot me a message on Discord. We definitely are looking for probably about 2 or 3 more ad partners for next year to mix stuff in a little bit more and to keep Fun loud, live, and independent. But thanks a lot to our current ad partners for really making it happen. You all mean the world to us, and you as well, too, as supporters for helping Fun stay loud, live, and independent. Letting other people know about Fun really does mean the world to us, and for your support with your bits and donations and subs. Thank you so much. Next game coming up, you can see it on screen, 2018 First Power Up. This is a time-based game where, depending on your control of one of the switches or scales, you got points based on this. Teams would also have bonus power-ups that they could use where they would put the cubes through the human player slot. The human players could then load them into an area and trigger power-ups during different parts of the game. And then the end game, there was a climbing element where you got bonus points for climbing as well. Christine, 2018 First Power Up, how are you feeling about this one?
I really could not get into the whole time-based scoring stuff. And it was one of those games where it was like, for the most part, you knew who won, like, as soon as Autonomous was over. There were like, it's weird. I almost enjoyed like the earlier part of the season when everybody was still getting their bearings and stuff, than later in the season when it was like, all right, well, we just like got blown out in the first 15 seconds of this match. I'm gonna sit back and maybe go get some Dippin' Dots. Like, definitely wasn't one of my favorite seasons, but overall, like, I thought it was a really smart new approach to gameplay with like time-based elements in it. I thought that the game pieces were different, like they were unique. I did not like how I mean, this is every year, but the end game was a crucial component, but it was such a like bias component.
Sure.
In terms of like, are you over that line? Nah.
Oh,
so,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because there was a line on the power-up structure that would determine if a team was actually climbing out. Because there's a lot of what we call the buddy climb, right? Where teams would have one robot attached to the other, and that was a big determining factor for that. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. The one thing I will say, just as a general counter to that, is that there are plenty of other games where it's not time-based scoring, and the match is definitely already won, right? For things. I will say that's one of the, we'll talk about 2022 at some point. I think it's one of the great things about 2022 is that was not always the case. But in this game, I think one of the things for me that I would have loved to see better was better power-ups. Like for being first power-up, I would have liked to see there be more impactful power-ups for things. So the power-ups were, I think it doubled points for a little bit. It gave you a free climb, and then I forget what the third one was. Somebody in chat can let us know on things. So I like the 8-bit theme overall. I'm not a big fan of theme games, but I thought the 8-bit theme was cute on it, and I thought it was something that people could get into overall. Force gain control of the switch scale. Yes, perfect. Thank you. But there was only for like 10 seconds, right, or something like that. So like I would have liked to see more, a little bit more out of what could have been put into this game. Graphically, this is a gorgeous game. I love the overall elements of the aesthetics of this game. The scale I really liked a lot too. Just having the teeter, having it go up too high, and having teams struggle to try to like stack one more on top. Cubes fell occasionally, which I know sucks, but honestly, it's exciting. I go back and forth on this game. To me, this is a C game to me. There's some elements I thought were really cool, but the overall essence of the game I thought had some things that could have been improved upon.
Yeah, it has a C as well. But I will say, like, it filmed really well. Like, looking at, totally. Like, and sometimes, like, and it sounds so lame, but, like, there are certain events, like, the Arizona events always look so cool because they have, like, the like structure over it, so like the lighting on the webcast or on the like video footage looks really cool, but like every event that year with like the lights on the field looked really nice, and it wasn't a lot of like graphics necessarily that season. I remember it was really like a lot of lights and just solid color, which I thought was really cool.
Twitch chat overall really liked this game. It seems those who voted actually ranked it an A overall. Me thinks this might have been the freshman year of some people in chat. So, or definitely from high school. So I do think we'll see a little bit of bias amongst our chat for games that are probably 2017, 2016 and on sort of thing on there. Not just counting your votes by any means, chat, on this. But yeah, chat overall ranked it an A. So cool to see the different dynamics and thought process for that. Let's go to a game that definitely is polarizing. How about 2015? Let's talk about Recycle Rush. In a game that, for me, my team lost in the finals on Einstein. It was the best performance, 28-26 ever had. My opinion, I think we had the coolest robot that year, too, especially in regards to autonomous. I mean, we did something nobody else could do, and yet I still hated this game. So for those who aren't as familiar with it, this is a game where it was 3v3, but there really wasn't much robot. There was practically zero robot interaction except for the first few seconds because there was a giant barrier across. Teams would have to pick up totes, stack them on top of each other up to 6, and then put a recycling container on top of that, which would increase the score, and then put a pool noodle in, which would give you a few more points as well, which is called litter. Human players could throw litter onto the other side of the field to try to obstruct the pathing. Of robots on there. Teams got bonus points for autonomous for picking up the 3 yellow totes and having them across an auto line. And same thing with the 3 recycling containers. And then in qualification rounds, there was a co-op element with those recycling totes that if you could have a stack in the middle of that, I think it had to be a 4 stack, so it required teams or both alliances to contribute. You would get bonus points for that as well. No end game for this one, but that was similar to 2014 where there was no end game as well. So I sum my piece a little bit, Christine. I'll let you let us know and enlighten us how you feel about Recycle Rush.
Yeah, I think Wave had the coolest robot ever, and made that game like way cooler than it should have been. Overall, like, just not ideal on a lot of levels. I didn't really necessarily enjoy it, but I will say, like, again, champs level play was pretty cool to see. We had some really cool can grabbers that put on like a good show. I was disappointed you did not put some of our like quals or our playoff matches against each other, because the link that I just sent you finals, right? is when our two alliance partners got tangled up and like we're literally hooked on each other for most of the match.
Yeah, we got a red card in that. Well, our alliance partner got a red card in that
was
match.
Wild. And I'll never forget, like, I was talking to Brandon after like everything was over, because I'm not gonna lie, we couldn't have been more thrilled to be finalists that year, like to have lost. Like, I mean, we were disappointed we didn't win, but we did not expect to get nearly as far as we did, because we had a really cool, like, kind of scrappy alliance. And Brandon was like, when that team got hooked on, I think it was 987 they got hooked on, he was like, I'll never forget the driver was like, I got a fish. And he was like, the coach was like, reel them all in, buddy. Come on.
Here, let's see. It's going to happen right. Like, it's going to happen right here. So,
it's so good.
Is it on 987? Yeah. Oh, that's right. You guys had the.
Oh wait, it may have been.
Was it a different match? No, it was finals 1, I think. So, I'll bring that up. So,
was it finals?
Your team had the big flails with the tennis balls on the end. I totally remember that now.
Yep.
Oh no, maybe it was right here, because it was Vulcan gets caught on 987, right? Or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're trying to take control of that last one because 987 didn't grab it, or somebody didn't grab it. Like, I think it wasn't us. We grabbed our two anyway.
I love that this is the exciting part of the game though. Like, it's just a tug of war who can rip off each other's arm. So. You know, one of the things I will say, somebody just mentioned that the carpets were different colors. I will tell you that on Wave, we severely struggled, I think, with the blue carpet on our division the entire time. I have no clue why for things. I don't know if something was slightly different, but like our performance on blue carpet versus red carpet, we like had double score on red carpet versus blue, which is really odd.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was honestly like just the fiber of the carpet being different with how you were moving and maneuvering, like during autonomous, or how things were reacting, because depending on the die, you never know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to start the Twitch poll. Let me do that. So
I was going to read it. I don't know.
I think one of the other things for people is the harpoons that don't get mentioned. They were never played, but if you don't know about them, I'll bring them up real quick. It's the 900 harpoons. Let's see if that just shows up that way. FRC. You might have to go look it up. I don't know why it's not appearing for me. Oh, here we go. Got it. Oh. I remember this game built, and this is one of the rules why teams can't occupy multiple pits and stuff now. But this was built for Einstein, where there's cheesecakes. This was absolutely insane. I really wish I got to play in one match. This was super cool. The other thing too, ramps I thought were an interesting thing about this game, where teams kind of interact with that. I think Bedford Express really mastered that, especially at IRI as well. So Olazola, thanks a lot for the bits, by the way. And thanks to everybody else who's done subs so far. I really do appreciate that. But look at this. This was insane, Christine, like of what this was. Why did this not play? It got approved for inspection. It should have had to play at least one match.
Look at all the string.
Okay, despite all that, I'm sorry, Recycle Rush. This is an F tier for me. I absolutely could not stand this game overall. As a lot of people put it, was first robotics exposition. The lack of competition, which might be a precursor for another game we're going to talk about, to me just didn't make it. But you had this as a D, was that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, winding on down. Not too many left to go. Let's talk about one of my favorite games. Not to spoiler alert or anything like that, but that is going to be 2013. The 2013 game, Ultimate Ascent. So this is, you notice, by the way, the netting around, which I thought was going to be really obtrusive. Really wasn't, I think, we were watching. It's kind of like watching a baseball game, right? Excuse me, were you behind the netting?
Surprising.
Yeah, so teams had frisbees to shoot in. There was 3 different goals, actually. So there was a 1-point low goal, 2-point side goals, and a 3-point high goal. Teams could shoot full court if they wanted to. And we saw kind of an interesting mix of teams on this. Some shooting close, some shooting full court, some being only human players, some being floor loading. And then at the end of the match, teams could climb up the pyramid. Depending which rung they got, they would get bonus points for that. And then there were either red or blue colored frisbees that you could score on top of the pyramid for even more points as well. To me, this was the game where you had back and forth. No team was really able to master the full court shot. right? Nobody was 100% accurate. So it didn't break the game that way because you had less accuracy that way. You had teams that could quickly floor cycle. And I think one of the most interesting things is that the alliance that won this, none of them triple climbed. None of them got up to the top. They were all just single run climbers, which I thought was really interesting because I think everybody thought, going in, or maybe not this alliance, but everybody else thought that it was going to be pretty essential to get up a bit higher. And for many divisions, it was as well. So I love this game. Christine, where's it ranked for you?
Yeah, I really like this game a lot. As like a spectator, it's really fun to watch. As a team member, it's just really like high play. It was really cool to see teams get into like a really good cycle rhythm. I know for me, this is like I would say this is like an A game. Because the human players were really important. Like you had to be on top of your game and like be ready to load or just be paying attention to what was going on. So
yeah. This is a solid A for me. This is my favorite game overall. I think this game was the most complete game. It was unique enough with the Frisbees as well too. You had so many different designs and iterations. You just saw there, a human player could toss a Frisbee and score it. I mean, like that was insane. Like I know people got excited this year when people were shooting cargo and scoring it. Throw a freaking Frisbee across the room and score that into a goal. That's impressive. For things. But yeah, the climbing aspect was really cool. One of the things too is I recall at regional level, you had teams that just climbed. They had no wheels on their robot. They just climbed for it to get, I think it was 30 points on there. And obviously not a viable strategy for championships, but this was one of those games where I felt like for the most part, everybody could do something because you could even just build a dumper robot to score Frisbees in the side goal. And overall, I thought it was quite effective that way. And like I said, I think the nets worked out. I thought everything was great. As Matt comments as well, the paper airplane debacle. Was that really 2013? It was that long ago when they banned paper. Was that year that paper airplanes got banned, or one of those years? But after the Air Force person encouraged everybody to throw them on the field. But, oh man. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, AA game. Love this game overall. Wish Frisbees would make a comeback. I think it'd be really cool to have. So, banned after 2014, maybe. All right. Scoring the top tetra was kind of useless. Yeah, I agree. I will say at regional level, we were finalists at one of our events where we were with Robotics, and they climbed and scored. And I thought it still had some viability, but I think you're right. Maybe at championships it wasn't. Side note, can we point out Dave Buggy on screen here doing the upside down climb on the mid rung? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I don't have the screen up. Let's put it back up there. Look at this.
Please. Yes.
Climbing up the tower in this.
This was Einstein, right?
Yeah, this is Einstein. So
yeah,
I miss for Buggy and Einstein. Like this dude was just crazy. like I just love that he would do the headstand, the upside down headstand.
The agility of a child at recess, like
goodness,
just kicking it.
It was like a calmer Mark Leone, like the right like level that I liked personally. For things. I love Mark as well too, so don't get me wrong, but yeah, cool stuff. All right, Twitch chat ranking an A, very resounding A. Nobody ranking it D or F, only one person ranking it C. Very resounding on the A tier overall. So yeah, good game first. Maybe bring it back, just saying, or bring back something like that. All right, orders from the general, throw paper airplanes. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about 2022. And talk a bit more about Rapid React and what that has to bring. There we're winding on down, by the way, only 5 games left to talk about. Most of them are older on here, but Rapid React, I'm not going to go into, you all know what Rapid React was on there. Christine, how are you feeling about the Rapid React season? How'd you like the game overall?
I feel pretty good about it. I think it turned out to be like a pretty good start to finish game in terms of like, everybody can contribute in some capacity. I was surprised to see teams come out fairly solid week 1, being able to do at least 1 or 2 things really well and then get better as the season goes on. So I think they did a good job of balancing, making it a competitive, like attainable game for people, for all teams and all like people that would be doing it for the first time, like post-COVID. So yeah, and I know I do wish for champs it was a little different in terms of ranking points and stuff, but I didn't really expect anything to come of that. But I will give it overall, give it a B.
Yeah, B is. I was going between B and C for this game. On here, you have too many B's, Christine. I wasn't expecting this many. It's dropping stuff down.
I would like to drop some of them down to a C, but whatever. I already made my choice.
No worries. Let me just resize your screen a little bit here. 1 second.
Well, remember, we're not grading them based off of each other. We're grading them based off of our own internal scale.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, okay. Like I said, I have this as a B as well. The best game you could ever hope for coming out of the pandemic, in my opinion. It was a game where very similar to Infinite Recharge in regards to robot design and build, in my opinion, for things, ball, shoot, ball, climb, that sort of thing like that. Not a lot really changed. You probably could play the games as long as your robot had enough of opening for them on there. Some things to me, by far, the best early game ever. By far. I have never, ever, ever seen at week 0, week 1, week 2 events so many robots doing so well. And that was extremely exciting, in my opinion, to have it at that. However, I do feel this game lost some of its luster going through. Like, as you mentioned, the RP's not getting raised. There are only being 2 things to do. Traversal being much less of a challenge for teams than what I think many thought it was going to be. So I think on paper, this was a fantastic game. I think the way it hashed out towards the end of the season, especially without there being modifications, drops this game to a B tier for me, almost close to a C tier for me as well. Einstein was extremely exciting. Tons of robots got to do things, lots of great defense. I'm really enjoying the XRC sim of it. So if you haven't played XRC, which is the arcade version of this game, essentially, go check it out. Just look up XRC Simulator. I might be playing some of it after this, actually. Maybe we'll stream some. But it's actually pretty exciting to play for that. So, really, really cool for that. But, yeah, I'll put this in a B tier for me as well. So, next game coming up, let's go to the game I just deleted. There we go. Sorry, as it looks back up. 2001! So 2001 Diabolical Dynamics. Yes. So this game was a shout out to Kevin Koloje on screen again. This game was a 4v0 game. This is another game that Beatty Hammond broke, essentially. So I just want to point out, I mentioned this a couple times, but in my high school career, 2001 through 2004, 71 Hammond won 3 out of 4 years at championships. Like, this is how dominant. Like, I know everybody looks at 254 nowadays in the dominance they bring, and they definitely are, and they are now have the most amount of championships. But I'll tell you, to win 3 out of 4 back then, the way it was absolutely insane. So this game was a time-based game where you actually got a multiplier if you stop the match early. And the way you stop the match early is everybody would have to e-stop your robot to do this. This is also pre-autonomous. So multiple elements in this game. You had a semi-stable bridge in the middle, a very, very, very low bar that my team foolishly tried to build a robot to go under on here. And then you had mobile goals that you would fill up with small balls. You would cap them with large balls, which would give extra bonus. All four robots in alliance to start on one side have to cross to the other side to get bonus points. And then, like I said, multipliers for putting goals onto the semi-stable bridge. And then also time-based multiplier for stopping the match early, which I thought was a very interesting thing as well. So one other thing I want to show real quick before we talk about, let me start the poll first. And by the way, Rapid React, very resounding positivity coming out of that. Overall, probably A minus. Let's start 2001. A, B, C, D, F. All right, chat, let us know what you think about this game. Let me bring it up on here. They got to do a little magic hiding. One of the coolest things ever that made me really say, wow, this is insane. I'm in the first, was not the game. It was Dean Kamen coming out with an iBot and balancing on the bridge at Epcot. This was absolutely nuts when we saw, like, I've never heard a crowd like roar louder than what this was. And you think about this is 20 years ago with this technology on here. This was so cool to see him just go up and balance this bridge. Christine, do you remember this moment at all?
Yeah. So I mean, like, talk about like some serious nerding out, like, but even still, like, that technology was just like, oh shit, like,
right?
That was so I mean, rightfully so. Everybody lost their minds, but that was a really cool moment.
All right,
especially because this game sucks.
Yeah, okay. I was like, how about the games? Yeah, this is a solid F for me personally, but on here, this game just was not interesting on it. The fact that it was 4v0 and Beatty could just break the game. The famous 7-10 match. I mean, like the second highest score closest was like, I think one alliance broke 600 once. Everything else was typically 400 or less, and this team was scoring 700 points in a match. So also one other cool thing I will talk about is 111 on here. This was back then you could actually bring multiple configurations. As long as your robot on the field weighed 120 pounds, you could actually have multiple configurations. And Wild Sting this year had, I think it was 3 or 4 different robots that actually could go on the field. So one was like a bridge robot, one moved the goals. So technology-wise was super cool. Kind of like 2015. Cool engineering challenge and exhibition, but that's what it was to me. So this goes personally into an F tier for me. Where does this rate for you, Christine?
F.
F as well?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Solid
2001. All right, let's move that over. Just got to adjust a couple things here. Close enough on that. All right. So F tier for that. All right, we got 3 games left. Chat, what did you rate it? Chat rated a D overall on there. Next game coming up, 3 left, is going to be 2005 Triple Play. This is the first year of 3v3. Before that was 2v2 or even 1v1v1 for those who want to go way back, or I think maybe 1v1. So Triple Play was a tic-tac-toe game. You would have these things called tetras, which was these custom PVC pieces, and the robots would try to essentially play a domination match where whoever had the highest tetra on there would control, and you try to do tic-tac-toe that way. It was also, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous games because you had human players right next to the field without any protection, handing pieces to the robots. The robots would disable when you stepped on a map, but it didn't mean that another robot couldn't come by and just fling a 40-pound tetra at you. But overall, very interesting strategy with this game with the tic-tac-toe. Vex even made a game that was very similar to this as well, too, with balls, just I think last year. But Christine, what were your thoughts on Triple Play?
Big fan. Really, really like this game. There were a lot of really diverse robots. It was crazy at events watching how high some of the like tetra stacks would get, and they'd just be like leaning and leaning and leaning. To the point where I remember in some limbs, like the stack would fall over right as the match ended, and they would just go with whichever one was like predominantly on top. So I was a fan of this game. I would say overall it was like a, I don't know, B tier game. I know I'm giving out a lot of B's tonight, but
that's all right.
All like solid ass game and not a whole lot to complain about. It just wasn't an evolved game, I would say, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I have this as a B tier game as well. I forgot to put a couple into my tier already. So yeah, I have this as a B tier as well. I think this is an enjoyable game. I think one of the things is nothing says that you have to have an even distribution of games, right? I think that's I don't think that's right to have an even distribution on this. So you first made good games, they should get credit for it, right? So, and this overall was a pretty good game. Cool strategy, especially for being in 2005, a long time ago, where Autonomous was early, first time a 3v3. Who knows what could happen? Cool game overall. Like it. Are we down to 2? We're down to 2. Our next game, I know we're wrapping up here. Our next game is going to be 2006 Aim High. Aim High was a game where you had poof balls that would be shot into these goals with the pokey stick, if we all remember that. And you get points for shooting into that goal. I think there was a low goal as well. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. And the robots would do that. Whoever won autonomous, there would actually be periods, kind of like an offense and defensive period. So if you won autonomous, I think you went on offense first, where you would score for 40 seconds, and then it would switch over. The other lines would have to go on offense. You were required to have robots on certain sides of the field during the time periods. And then at the end of the match, everybody could score. And then you got bonus points for going up that incline. It was a pretty steep incline as well, too. So there were plenty of robots who would tip over in this as well. You had some human player load ones, like 25, who were only human player load. You had ones that picked up off the ground. You had a very, I think, wide mix of teams I think, like I said, most people remember this game for balls getting stuck and having to take a giant PVC stick and poking the balls so that they would fall through in time, which caused delays between auto and teleop many times as well. But Christine, what did you think of Aim High? I think a lot of people are either big fans or they don't like this.
Yeah, I thought, considering it was one of the first shooting games, it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. The concept of like the changing like offense to defense, interesting, but like was definitely annoying at the time. But I would give it a C overall.
This game, I actually really did enjoy this game. There were some faults to it. I'm still going to put this into an A tier for me. This is one of my favorite games overall for things. I know it's ambitious. There are a couple things I'd fix, like obviously the balls getting stuck were a big thing. The periods, I'm kind of okay with it. I kind of like the structure of teams who win autonomous get like a bonus. I kind of like that. That's something I think Vex continues to do to this day. Many times they still give like autonomous bonuses or autonomous winners. And I like that for things. This was the first year where bumpers were optional, by the way. So that's why you'll see like green bumpers and that sort of thing on teams, because there's really no regulations. You could choose if you wanted to have them or not. But yeah, I really like this game overall. Yeah, there could be a couple improvements. The balls getting jammed was a big letdown, I think, many times. But overall, I like this game a lot. And yeah, as Richard Wallace mentioned, go watch IRI finals if anybody ever gets a chance. We're pretty insane as well. I remember being there for that. Really cool. So a little bit of difference of opinion, and that's all right. Let's move on. Our last game. It's going to be 2017 first Steamworks with the crazy rapper guy who, like in many of his music videos, was just oiled up with his shirt on, sort of thing. I remember that came out. I sent that video to Frank when that first came out. I'm like, do you know this dude makes videos like this? Like, have you seen this before? I'm like, it's very interesting. So, yeah, first Steamworks. So, interesting thing with the human players being on the field, which I think a lot of people are very positive about that aspect. Teams would have to pick up gears and deliver them onto airships in the middle of the field. We get bonus points for doing so many rotors, as they were called, that you'd spin up. Very thematic game, right? You have the airship with the whole Steamworks thing. And then you'd have to pick up fuel to shoot in the boilers to power them up as well. And you got bonus ranking points if you had enough KPA or kilopascals, I think is what it was called. And then if you had it for rotor spinning, bonus for that. At the end of the game, teams would climb up their own brought ropes for bonus points as well. First Steamworks, how you feeling about this one, Christine?
I had a great year that year. Can't complain. We had a really fun robot that year. Took a really ambitious approach to really focusing on being able to hit that KPA. And we did, and it was really fun. But I do think that some of the point values were like a little imbalanced. But overall, like, I really like this game. I know a ton of work and like effort went into the look of the field. We were lucky enough to have Jasmine on, and she was one of the mechanical engineers at headquarters at the time, but she also did all the artwork for the field, which was really, really cool to hear that they allowed her to do both things and like really take creative ownership over it. So overall, like as a team, it was definitely it was one of those games where you had to rely on your alliance partners no matter what. Like you literally could not do every single thing, which like for better or for worse. So I liked that about the game, but it was also very frustrating. So I think, I don't know, I had a really good year that year, so I'm going to selfishly give it an A. Gonna go for it and just say whatever.
We're going to have a difference of opinion on this for sure. So
I know.
All right. So first Steamworks, I have a lot of issues with first Steamworks. The gear thing over like the thematic of the game, I was fine with. I thought it was cool. I liked it a lot more than First Stronghold personally. I thought First Stronghold was like a little too over the top. I think First Steamworks quelled that down a little bit, so I liked that because of it. However, this game once again at the highest end level was a cool game. At any other level, the fuel was completely ignored by 90% of teams, and to me to have something like that where the game was just broken, fuel was not worth nearly enough. For what it was. It should have been worth at least double of what it was in order to have more RP scored for that. As somebody else mentioned, there was a lot of ties because teams would just do rotors and that was it. And So to me, that became boring. That have teams not shoot, or if they shot, it wasn't accurate, or when they did, it really didn't count for anything, and it just became teams just shuttling gear pieces across the field back and forth. Now, that is one of my issues. Issue number 2 I have, and I think this could have fundamentally changed the game in a much better way, in my opinion, was they should have not allowed teams to have their own rope. They should have had a generic rope, like the generic one that was provided, that thick braided white rope. I think would have been way more difficult for teams to climb, because you just had teams that literally just brought like a strap. And so y'all had to do, you think of like 118 or something where this drove on the strap and climb. Climbing was way too easy for what it was. I think if they could have came up with a way to make climbing a little more complex, that would have been a much better way for an end game on this. To me, end game was one of those where if you didn't climb, you lost the match. It was way overpowered for things. So I think if we would have went the stock rope only, I think that would have made this game more competitive. And I think if we would have changed fuel, much more competitive. So I really like the human players on the field. Big fan of that. Other than that, though, the game itself, I really didn't enjoy. At championship, sure. Every other level did not. This is a D tier for me. This goes quite a bit down. This is one of my least favorite games, actually, as well. So, difference of opinion on that. But I mean, when the game was hot,
I also didn't go to Houston champs that year.
Yeah,
I didn't go to Houston that year, so I don't have that like bitter experience too of like the drag out of that being like, oh my god, it's never ending. So anyway, but.
And I know a lot of students or a lot of people who are recent graduates really like this game a lot, and that's fine. To me, just the strategy of it, of not being able to shoot most of the time, just made this game boring at 90% of circumstances. So, all right, that is going to be our entire list for games for 2000 through 2022. Christine, how you feel about looking back at reflecting your list? Feel good with it?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice trip down memory lane.
Right. Yeah, I think to me that was actually the most fun of this, is just talking about, just having a conversation about previous year's games and reminiscing and having chat. Let us know how they feel. By the way, chat really did like this game overall rated an A for it. So on there, but yeah, it was just cool to kind of catch up. I think we'll have to find some other things to reminisce, like other topics in the future. So we'd love to have your suggestions. Go ahead and post those at discord.gd/firstupdates now to let us know what other things you might want to see some tier ranking lists for. Or I know there was the other type of list that you can do as well, which I'm just going to scroll up my screen. The alignment chart as well, we could probably do something with too. I know some people on Cheap Delphi posted that. So so we can look at doing some future things with that as well. But we really thank you all for tuning in for First Updates Now. Here we'll have other shows. Most of our shows will be on Tuesdays at 8 or 8:30. If you are watching this live, next week we will have FRC Roundup, but we'll be on Monday for some current hot topics going on. First, you want to have some more discussions about that, join us then. Check out our Discord for more info on that, of course, on social as well. Hey, if you are watching live, by the way, stick around. We're going to just have some chat about kind of the future of fun, what's going on with that, some things with Fun Gaming League. I might play some XRC as well. But Christine, really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for talking robots and robot history with us.
Yeah, anytime. If you ever need somebody to talk, old games and stuff with, I'm your person.
Sweet.
Well, it's been a long time.
We look forward to having that and look forward to seeing 125. Are they attending any events at all?
Yeah, so we have some off seasons coming up. Excited to head to Battle Cry at WPI, I believe. We saw that IRI is going to be accepting applications if they aren't already. We're hoping we can make that trek this season, but it's not a guarantee.
I hope you do.
Yeah,
catch up. So.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I hope the team can go because I think it would be a really good experience. Obviously, I mean, that's going to be any off season, but what about you, Tyler?
Oh man, I just booked a whole bunch of flights today. I'm going out to Israel for their off season in October. I am stoked for that. I have a couple of FTC events, one in Chicago, one in Maryland. Maryland MTI is kind of like the IRI of FTC. CRI is another great event. So kind of the two big ones are going out for that. For FRC, otherwise, IRI will be at, I'm not sure about Chesy Champs yet, just because of travel. I'd also like to go to WVROX. I'm not sure about that yet. Which is that 26-hour event that goes straight.
Yeah.
I love to go to Title Tumble. I don't think that's going to be a possibility for me this year. Just summer's really building up, and I need to spend some weekends home. So, So yeah, looking for that. Real quick plug, by the way, if you are running an off-season event, you can host it here on Fun for free. So reach out to, once again, admin at firstupdatesnow.com if you're interested in running that. We do see typically 50 to 100% more viewership by hosting on our channel. We'd love to do that for you. We do have quite a few dates booked already, so reach out. If we can do it, we'd love to do that for you. So thanks a lot, everybody, for watching First Updates Now. Once again, if you're watching live, stick around for some further discussion. But other than that, thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Talk to you then. Good night. First Updates Now is supported by the Milwaukee School of Engineering. MSOE offers week-long summer camps where high school students get to preview college by living on campus, exploring engineering programs, experimenting in labs, meeting with professors, and participating in fun group activities. Are you ready to experience STEM at MSOE? Visit msoe.edu/summer to learn more and register. Thanks to STRYKER Careers for their support in this video. Apply the skills you gained as a first student or mentor and help change the world at STRYKER. STRYKER is the top career choice for many of those in FIRST because of their commitment to innovation and saving lives. Learn more about the incredible culture at STRYKER and view their thousands of positions available around the world at careers.stryker.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.